How's it going, super friends? Welcome back to my channel. I'm Brad, the DC Universe Geek, in case you didn't know, and today we're having a look at the DC Direct 13-inch Deluxe Collector Superman Classic Action Figure. This is one that's been on my list for a long time, and I just wanted to let you know that I fully intend on collecting every single one of these DC Direct 13-inch figures. Flash, Green Lantern, Wonder Woman, Aquaman. I want to get them all and do reviews of them, but they're so expensive, but I will get them in time, I promise you. Oh yes, I will. But today this one's all about the Superman figure. On the front of the box we have a very cool image of the Superman figure that we're reviewing today. I really kind of think, just by looking at the box art, that this head sculpt is meant to resemble something from Jose Garcia Lopez. I mean, just look at it. I think that's what they were going for. And you'll note that this still has the original sticker price of $76.99 on it. Anyway, side of the box looks like this, the other side of the box looks like that. Here's the top, and here's the bottom. On the back of the box we have another posed image of the figure we're reviewing today, plus a little write-up. Realistically proportioned, this fully posable 1/6 scale figure has 28 points of articulation and is clothed in Superman's iconic, authentically detailed costume. This deluxe figure also includes a display stand. And then of course you can see other figures that you can get here. Batman, Superman, Green Lantern, Superman Returns, Lex Luthor, Two-Face. You could read them all there and pause it if you want to. I fully plan on getting all of them in time. As for the inside sleeve, we'll open it up. You can see they got a window, they got another image of the figure right here, and then we have another little write-up here. Sent to Earth by his parents, Jor-El and Laura, to save him from his doomed planet, Krypton, young Kal-El has grown from a shy Kansas farm boy, raised by Jonathan and Martha Kent, into the Earth's greatest superhero, Superman. Using his powers such as super strength, flight, and heat vision, Superman fights for truth and justice while maintaining the guise of Clark Kent, a mild-mannered reporter for the Daily Planet. Boom. Yep. And that's the window right there. You can see everything that you get on the inside, the figure, the stand, and the hands. Let's open it up. I just want to point out as well that the original tape on the top as well as on the bottom is still intact. It's never been opened. This baby has never seen the light of day. Well, unless of course you open the window, then it can see. Well, it can't really see, it's a toy. You get what I'm saying. Now let's open it. Out you come, Super McMahon. Get the heck out of there. Okay, that's weird. Do you see those little speckles? That's actually, there's like an oily, you see that? I'm not sure if it's showing up. Look at that. Oh man, I hope the figure's not oily. I hope that's not why I got it. It's so cheap. Let's check and see if it's, no, everything's dry. So I don't really know why the front of the packaging was so oily. That doesn't make any sense because it was unopened. What happened to this thing before I got it? There's the background. You can see that it comes with a little mountainous background there in case he wants to go yodeling. Here he is mashed in his package still. Okay, let's just get them all out so you're not stuck watching me do this. Standing here now before us as his Kryptonian cells absorb all of that wonderful radiation from our universe's yellow sun's rays, we see that he comes with 2 extra hands and a black flight stand, and that is it. Now, starting at Superman's toes and going all the way up to his head, you can definitely tell they were going for a really classic look here, obviously, because New 52, none of that stuff had happened yet, so all they had really was the classic soups that they could really market to people. The body proportions themselves look pretty good for what they are. I'm not going to complain about that. I mean, remember, this is the early days of anyone really trying to do 14-inch DC figures with any kind of articulation whatsoever beyond that of Mego. Really, this was the best you could get at the time, as far as I remember. And here's a closer look at the head sculpt for the Superman. Spit curl for the win, by the way. I like the fact that the eyebrows and the eyes have been painted on nicely. This has a very 1970s, 1980s Superman comic book look to it. I can appreciate the look and the facial structure of this head sculpt. The boots have been made out of some sort of dyed red faux leather. They look good for what they are, but they're definitely out of date in comparison to how boots tend to be done now. The fabric itself looks good. I like the material. I like the color, both of the blue and of the red. The belt loops on his trunks could definitely have been done a little bit neater, a little bit better as far as I'm concerned. That's something that will definitely detract from the overall look of this figure. The symbol on his chest is nice and big, but it's also shiny and probably a little bit too far down. I'd like to move that up if I could. The cape itself has been sewn into the neckline, so it's not coming out anytime soon. The back of Superman's suit, you can see that he's got the big S right there on the back of his cape, and much like the S on his chest, it's kind of like a shiny, I don't know if you can hear that. It doesn't really want to wrinkle. It's sort of solid, and I'm afraid that over time, this S is going to either crack or begin to peel off. The cape is made out of like a nice soft, almost t-shirt like material. And then the back here, you can see there's a zipper for you to undo the back and take off his suit in case it gets dirty. Maybe I'll take it off, maybe I won't. I'm not quite sure to have a look at the body. It all depends on how easy it is to take the belt off of this figure. And then you got the trunks from the back here. Apparently he's got himself a little wedgie. We'll just relieve him of that. And the boots, you can see there's the zippers that go all the way down the back like that for them to come off of his feet. Although I'm not really sure why, unless you're doing custom work, you'd ever want to take the boots off of his feet or even take the suit off. I don't really understand why you would do that. Now, as for the articulation for this Superman, well, let's just start from the beginning. I've stripped down Naked Superman so that you can see all the different articulation points that this guy has. I'm not going to do the usual move it here and twist it there to show you exactly what it can do, because you can actually see all the articulation lines as it is. There's that pesky in the middle of the bicep swivel. Blech. Some of the articulation points seem kind of a bit like a moot point, like you've got a waist swivel on top of a different waist swivel, and then you've got articulation below the knee on top of articulation below the knee, and here's a super spready. I'm not gonna lie, that's a little bit disturbing, but you can see here that for the groin articulation, they've given him little tiny hinges. And as you can see, this figure does have a lot of posability, except for the fact that those boots are gonna way get in the way of how much ankle articulation there is. Like, hello, might as well have not had hinges there. And now for that part of the show that everyone seems to like, and that's size comparison time. On the far left, we have the gentle giant jumbo superpower Superman, and then we have the Mego 14-inch Superman. We have the star of the show. And then on the far right, we have the Fiken buff body custom Superman of mine. I don't even know why he's in there. Unless you have the Fiken, that doesn't really make much of a difference. I just wanted to put him in the video because I like him. Seriously, squishy. If you can get these bodies, you should. They have a metal skeleton and they're squishy. They feel like real people. Kind of creepy, but definitely my favorite bodies to use for any large scale custom. You don't get any crease lines, no fear of the fabric getting pinched. Now I'm way off track. Darn it. And then here we have him alongside my only other DC Direct 14-inch deluxe figure, and that's Batman, the classic black and gray pouch belt version. The first one, my first love for this series. These are my favorite too, so I'm glad I got him. I can just build out from there. Okay, so now that we've gone over pretty much everything with this figure, I'm just going to give my opinion on what I think of it, if I'm happy I bought it, and if I think that it's worth your time and effort to track this bad boy down on eBay too. He's not really a bad boy, is it? It's Superman. He's like the epitome of good boy. Track this good boy down too. In truth, in actuality, I love it. It's one of those pieces that I had on my mind. It was on my list literally since it came out, and I just never got it. You hear me say that a lot, don't you? It's because I have a limited amount of money to work with, and some things take me a long time to eventually get my hands on. This figure was one of those pieces. Back in the day, I could buy multiple DC Universe classics for the price of one gigantic Superman figure or one gigantic DC Direct. So I just never got it. But now I'm older, and I've got almost all the figures that I want that are in the smaller scale, so I have a little bit more money to spend on figures in a larger scale. And I really like it. The color palette is something that I really like about this figure very much. The blue and the red and the yellow, I think they're pretty much perfect. Not a super fan of all of the articulation points. I'm glad that we've progressed past the way that they do some of those. And the boots being made out of fabric, I think it's cool they're made out of fabric. I just definitely think they could have been made a little bit better. As I said, I do enjoy the face sculpt for this figure. It has a really classic 1980s, 70s-ish kind of Superman-ish look to it. And that's something that I can really appreciate a whole lot as a longtime Superman fan and collector. And owning this figure makes me really just wish that I owned all the rest of the DC Direct figures in this scale. They seem like they're a worthwhile purchase in my opinion. So this Superman, if I had to give it a mark out of 1 to 10, I would probably give it an 8 out of 10 or a 7.8, somewhere in there, taking marks off only because the articulation is a bit strange in some places. The S is definitely too far down, and as much as I like the fabric boots, I wish they were different somehow. But yeah, that's my opinion, that's my review. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, please leave a thumbs up on it so I know I'm doing something right. You're gonna have your own opinions, leave those down in the comments section below as well. I'd like to hear from you. If you want to see more of my face and hands show up in your inbox, become a super friend and join the DC squad. Hit the red subscribe button that says subscribe on it, and if you do, remember to ding the bell so you get notified of new videos, because YouTube doesn't always notify people, and I will see you with the next one. Have an awesome day, super friends, and please, honestly, take care of yourselves. Bye for now.